So I searched, and it took me, 3-4 hours, and I came across this document, and I asked multiple people, and they hadn't heard about it, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is a I wouldn't say a gold mine, but a very valuable document where citizens of Montreal and obviously CDN-NDG, Loyola district, should read up on, look at it, in a final, last resort. You can always have that to kind of,
Out of
fall
quick
back on.
curiosity, is there articles in there, because I haven't read it, related to cracks in the street?
Yeah. There's
Fascinating.
articles. They don't use cracks in the street. They use reference of roads, infrastructure, and sidewalks, etc. So that yes. So what is also different is that if you just send a regular letter, an email, or etc., that will go into a pile on their desk where they're not obliged to answer you in the amount of time that they'll answer you whenever they want to answer you. They'll get around to it. But when you invoke the articles, it's a legal document. It's a well, it depends on how it's drafted. I drafted it like a formal letter of notice, like a demand letter. So I put in specific things that I wanted to see and have happen in a certain period of time. So that time for me was 10 days, 10 calendar days. I wanted to see results or a response of what will or could happen in the 10 days. And if I was not happy or am not happy with any of that information, then my last resort is a Montreal ombudsman. Okay. So those 10 days or whatever, it could be 7, it could be 3, it could be 10, it could be 30, whoever is invoking and drafting the letter, it's up to them to decide. So if they don't answer, well, or don't rectify whatever you're having an issue with, well, then it just goes. It goes to the ombudsman. So they reacted within 30 minutes, which was absolutely impressive. And, kudos, to the city, to the workers, to the mayor, to reacting to getting, this done. It's not a, again, we're all in this thing called life. We're all, trying to, advance ourselves for our family, our friends, our loved ones. We just want to live and be happy and, be in, comfortable surroundings. And so invoking the letter was not I guess a harsh move. It was a move that allowed me to actually invoke my rights for myself and fellow citizens to get this eyesore of a building up a notch where people can actually see that something is being done about it. Again, going back to what I said, walking on the street, people are stopping me, that I had spoke to before. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. People are stopping, taking pictures. They're turning their heads when they're driving by because it's that much of a difference, right? And so for me, it was important, that get done and get done in the allotted time that was given to the city. Another example of the invocation of the articles in the charter was Confederation Park. I think since I announced my candidacy, people are seeing what I'm about, what I've done, my human rights advocacy.
Well, I just have to say, as far as candidates go,
Yes.
I don't know that I've heard of a candidate that accomplished things not being in office quite in the way that you did. So that's definitely remarkable.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and that
I,
means a lot.
I
It's
definitively can't say it hasn't happened before,
yeah,
at least in
no,
my knowledge of
you're
what's happening.
yeah. So back to Confederation Park. I received a Facebook message from a guy by the name of Mike, and he is the founder of the Facebook group, the NDG Roadrunners, and he had saw or heard of what I had helped to accomplish here on Walkley, And he said, look, I was speaking with, our 25, 30 plus runners here, and they're absolutely, appalled with the way this Confederation part, the racetrack looks. Like it's absolutely, disgusting. Again, 5-foot weeds, and bushes around the fenced off area, the bike rack, like we can't see anything. I want to invite you down here and speak with them. And I don't know if you can do something, you can try. So, I went there a few days later and looked, and again, there's Facebook pictures, on my official page, which depicts the situation and what it, looked like. And it was appalling. So I spoke with the group of 25, 30 plus people, and I said, look, I'm going to try and repeat what I did with the appearance of, the building on Walkley, to see if I can do it here. I said, I'm not promising anything, but I'll go back and look at the charter, and I'll see if there's any articles in there that actually, communicates to and references what is actually transpiring to this park and the look of it. So I gave it some thought. I left the park. I went back home, started Googling and researching again on, different things. I looked at the charter, and I found, I believe it was 4 articles where they specifically reference in the articles sports and recreation and parks. And they use the word high quality parks. That is not a high quality park. So I put pen to paper, drafted up the almost the exact same formal letter that I did for Walkley, and did the exact same thing. And I didn't hear anything. And on the 10th day, I actually wrote down, I think I have it here. I wrote down in my book, I was counting days. And when you have, if something happens today, do you count today, or do you don't count today? Do you start tomorrow? So I was never very good at that. So I wrote it physically down, and I've got to show you this because it was so, I wrote it down, the dates down, and I started counting, and I'm like, okay, does this fall on the 9th day, or does this fall on the 10th day? And sure enough, it was the 10th day. And I got I can't find it. I got a text, ironically, at 9:30 in the morning from Mike saying, they're here, the city's here. I said, what? I said, you gotta be kidding me. And so I texted him back, and then, he didn't answer me. He ended up calling me and saying, yeah, I can't believe it. I came here and I see them, doing the start, I said, look, I've got to go do an oil change at 10 o'clock. It was 9:55. I was doing it at Gordon's. And I was like, I'm going to go there before I go to Gordon's, and I'll be there, in 2 minutes. So I buzzed up there. I was there in like a minute flat, 2 minutes flat. And sure enough, I saw the, big city truck, they had a dump truck with the arm, and they had literally started cutting the track. And 2 days later, Mike sent me an email that he received from the city. And I said, Mike, have you ever received a letter from the city before? He said, no. He goes, never. He goes, I've called them. I spoke with them to try and get them to, it hasn't been done in over a year. So let's get this straight here. They come in, they cut the grass where people play soccer or rugby. They cut all around the trees, but they don't do the simple job of aesthetics by taking a whippersnipper or clippers to cut the hedges. And I use this analogy before when talking with somebody. I said, it's like going to a car wash, paying for an entire car wash, or your whole car getting washed, but they only wash your windows.
Right.
Okay. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like, why bother? For me, if I was in charge of public works, I would either fire the company that was hired to do the job, okay, because they're not doing the job right. If they're being paid, X amount of dollars that they've been allocated to receive for the entire year contract or whatever it is, 6 months, whenever they start cutting the grass, and they're excluding doing the simple aesthetics, but you're still taking the money that we're giving you and you're not doing the job, you're getting fired. Or
so are you able to do that? I've heard, talking to some of the more I'm already elected folk, that that's a little more complicated than it might appear.
It is, but from a dummying down
Right.
sort of conversation, and again, right, I'm going to use these words twice. I'm going to use bureaucracy. We need to bring it down a little bit, and there's sometimes in some circumstances that bureaucracy needs to take a shelf, and common sense, like if we're paying you to cut the grass, that means the weeds and everything else that goes with it. Okay. Otherwise, I'm not going to pay you, or I'm going to find somebody that does it, because there's the reason why I say that. There's no reason why other parks in this district have the weeds and bushes cut and the grass cut. But why not Confederation? Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's wild, because it's right next to a high school.
Well, you know what? I agree with you, but at the same time, not to disrespect you, but so what to, you know, to the city, right? It's like,
Yeah.
why are you making this pretty and that ugly, or keeping that ugly
Right.
and making this pretty, you know? And that's where I go back to where I was saying black and white. There's no, this is just common sense, is that if you're hiring a team of people to take care of the grass, and you're picking and choosing how you want the appearance of one part to look than the other, there's not many reasons why you would need to do that. There's cutting back on funds, or you just don't give a crap about that area where that park is located. There's not many other.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a strong, bold sort of statement, but
I am very okay making those kinds of strong, bold statements. I personally think gentrification don't give a crap about who used to live here, but that's
no, but
like,
what
even in that area, like the area you're talking about is not renowned for being the most whitest, middle classest, nicest area. It's kind of on the other end of it.
Right, but again, how come with my letter invoking 4 articles of the charter, how did that get done? That was not a coincidence. That was done because they received that letter. So why? Who am I? I'm a private citizen invoking my rights as a citizen of NDG that the city breached multiple articles in regards to that park. So I get what you're saying, that, oh, well, they did, you know, the park. Absolutely.
I don't agree with anything the city does with regards to picking and choosing. Like, I'm like straight up there. I'm just saying, in my experience, they tend to pick and choose. Like,
right. Well, if elected, I will try to, obviously I'll have to, you know, learn the bureaucracy and what it actually entails, you know, deeply, you know, in the roots, you know, of the council. But I will, you know, make myself heard in regards to, like, you know, we need to, there's certain things, again, going back to the analogy of the car wash and the windows, that just doesn't make sense. You're not going to pay for something, and then, you know, I understand there's probably certain budgets that need to be, you know, cut, brought down, but, you know, your people, your citizens of the district, they you know, need some lifters, right? They need some morale lifters. So I went back there to the park, and, you know, and Mike was ecstatic. It looks so much better. It's brighter. They still need to, you know, get the lights fixed, because
that
solar.
Yeah. The lights are not fun. I used to run there, and like the lights in that area are wildly scary at night.
Well, yeah, and I mean we're I mean right now, what, we're 8 o'clock and it's pitch black outside, but you know, Mike was telling me, he's like, you know, Joel, at like 5, 6 o'clock here in November or whatever, October, like it's pitch black here. So that brings up another articles is safety and security. So the city, through the charter, says that we will, you know, protect our citizens. We are going to make sure that they're okay. Well, you're not by leaving this park with the lights non-functioning because it's dark. If they work solely by solar, they're not going to go on at night.